Today we are going to talk about something really very, very important. Nobody wants to be losing one's own self. And what we're going to talk about is preserving me, real me, and my precious cognitive functions. You might say that might have noticed that I am dwelling more up on this topic of cognitive functions because as we grow, most of us, a lot of us, are getting into the problem of dementia, forgetting, etc. Now, maintaining because I will tell you a secret of my life today. That after the stroke, what saved me perhaps was my alert mind, cognitive function, you may call it anything. But now you'll all agree with me that maintaining my real self and completely keeping it intact is becoming a challenge. With each passing day, because we are facing, negotiating hurdles, our forefathers perhaps were not used to at all. We are facing, a lot of hurdles in this hustle-bustle world of ephemeral nature, but with, very, alluring temptations. So that means these temptations cannot really, hurt us if we are able to keep ourselves, we preserve our cognition, which is actually in reality is keeping our soul and spirit alive. And this is how being alive is remaining cognitively young. As I told you that this is a secret, perhaps, which helped me greatly to be able to handle these 3 years of paralysis after the brain stroke. However, if all our lives we keep identifying ourselves with the material world, then keeping the real me and my soul intact becomes almost impossible. Poor soul and spirit keep, getting buried in the alluring temptation of this callous, cruel world of material. I'm not really against anything, but we are there to find reasons as to why are we facing problems as we grow older. And this is one of the major problems. Now, Jean-Paul Sartre, the philosopher, he called this losing of self is in the, having the having mode of existentialism, which is opposite of being, and this alone actually can save us and save our real self, and to keep us, completely safe from getting lost in the predicament of this temporal world. Religion puts it a little differently. For achieving the same objective of saving our real self, calling it the God consciousness, the awareness of real me as the vicegerent, not having any concept of ownership at all, which Sartre wants us to get rid of. That we are having mode of existentialism and we are having, we want everything, we are not even ready to share. Anyway, without having any possession of anything, but remember, the day we completely surrender to the real owner of this universe, the ultimate creator, we start to own the entire cosmos, but as a trustee, not as an owner. This is what the philosophers interpret the being of mode of existentialism. This I will give you the link below that you can get into the details of this. Now let's analyze as to what happens to all those talents we are born with. Out of perhaps all those God-gifted legacies, most of us are utilizing only those faculties and talents throughout our lives which are required to win a rat race, to amass the big, you can say worldly wealth. And what happens if all our life we only use the cunning abilities instead of the sacred faculties, the God-gifted treasure of cognitive functions? They get rusty, they get wasted. But unfortunately, we only get the miserable news of this big dilemma when we often start forgetting. And doctors tell us we are slowly treading towards dangerous limits of cognitive decline. I would try and, not take more time by, reminding you. I'm sorry, I was looking at the time. This decline to some extent is natural. And by the way, I mean, that's the good news. And it's good for us because we are forgetting some painful past and we are saved from the burdens of this, strenuous, memories of the past, releasing us of many responsibilities in life as we grow older into an age of infirmities, which should be welcomed if we wish to enjoy this challenging part of our life with confidence and due comfort as a well earned sacred right after retirement. However, if we continue with our lives without requisite changes and improvement with time as we grow, we are heading towards catastrophes. A writing on the wall. We never paid any heed to this warning, and that's the problem. Now, despite knowing that we just cannot afford the continued decline of this God gifted treasure, the only characteristics making us superior to the animal world, and that is the cognitive abilities. We all must be familiar with these words of wisdom. Man, in his ignorance, identifies himself with the material sheets which encompasses his real self. Upanishad, the Hindu wisdom is talking about it. Now, this celebrates we must exfoliate our mundane self, the id and libido, and free our real self and pure ego, the superego as we call it, from the material sheets, having enslaved us completely and buried our being in the mausoleum of our soulless bodies.